Hello, welcome to the Millionaire Woman Show, where we'll be discussing leadership, business, and human potential, inspiring you to live rich from the inside out. Unlock your creativity, stretch out of your comfort zone, break through your barriers, take inspired action, and achieve epic results. Now, here's your host, two-time best-selling author, speaker, and certified executive coach, Deborah Kasowski.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Millionaire Woman Show. As you know, we talk about leadership, business, and human potential. And I am so excited to share this episode with you, and it's about setting boundaries. Henry Cloud said, "We change our behavior when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of changing. Consequences give us the pain that motivates us to change." It's the consequences that motivate us to change. Boundaries are set to create clear separation between yourself and others. They are created so you can honor your own needs, as well as offering yourself some self-respect. When you set boundaries, you're telling others what you want and also what you expect. The best way to set boundaries is to start by doing some self-reflection. Pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel stress? Are you resentful, angry, frustrated? Maybe you feel taken advantage of. You need to give yourself permission to take care of you first. Pay attention to your own thoughts before you take notice of others. Your first step in setting boundaries may mean you need to shut down your own negative thinking. Are you taking things personally? Do you believe that your circumstance is permanent? If so, you are stuck in a rut. You will not find a way out until you shift your thinking and you realize that a person's response comes from their own experience and perception. You need to discover what that is. Challenge any assumption you might be having and get some clarification. There may be a misunderstanding. Life is fluid. Good and bad circumstances are all temporary. The way you choose to respond and the choices that you make will determine how long you actually stay in that state. Choose to do nothing, and the longer you be there. Choose to take action, and you will have progress. Now, what I want you to do is you also take a piece of paper, write it down when you get a chance, but thinking about identifying what are the things that drain you. If you're not sure whether or not you need to set boundaries, I want you to start thinking about the peoples and the places that drain you. You know, where your energy gets sucked out? The places might be noisy, dirty, or cluttered. The people may be miserable, gossipy, or complain. They complain about their spouses or partners or speak poorly about others in every flaw that they can find. They complain about their boss. You may have increased demands placed on you just because you're an expert in the area, and that may be draining. These people may even be family members that call to see if you can run errands. After all, if you work at home, you must be doing nothing. At some point, you need to stop all this madness. And you do this by knowing your values. Not only do you make better decisions when you know your core values, you can set boundaries more effectively because you know what you stand for. And if you go to my website at www.deborahkasowski.com, you will find my core values posted on the website. And when it comes to working with clients and businesses, I use those core values to help determine if I'm going to work with those individuals and also how I interact with them. You know what you're willing to tolerate because you know what you're not willing to tolerate. So if someone violates my core values, I won't be doing business with them for very long. Use those core values as your guideposts. If someone violates it, you know that there needs to be a consequence, and that consequence could be that you're not going to work with them. For example, if someone cheats or steals, they can be fired from a job or face criminal charges. Your values drive your results. Remember, you cannot change others, but you can change how you respond to them. In Dr. Henry Cloud's book, Boundaries for Leaders, he talks about how leaders get what they allow. You can choose to respond or react to any situation. The one thing you can do is change the way you act toward them, is to have an honest heart to heart. And I know in some organizations, they don't like to talk about matters of the heart, but being heart-centered is about allowing people to express themselves and have a voice. And here's what you can do. If you do not like how someone is treating you, you can use this communication method. Often is what I use in emotional intelligence. So there's 3 parts. So you say, when you, and you explain the situation. I feel. So you're identifying what that person's doing, that activity. But then what you're doing is you're taking a step back and you're talking about your feelings, how it impacts you. And then what you're going to do is you're going to say, I want, or in the future, I would expect. So then you're asking or telling them what you expect how to be treated. So let's do that again. When you did this, for example, I felt this. And in the future, this is what I would like. So I had a situation one time when I wanted someone bailed out last minute pardon me. I had made arrangements with someone and thought that they would be reliable, and they violated it. They weren't reliable. They backed out and someone else had to take over, but they didn't communicate that to me. So when I learned that, I was very angry. So I took some time to really think about it, and I ended up approaching that person, and I said, you know, when you did not follow through on what you said you would do, so that violated one of my core values, that integrity piece. So when you did not do what you said you were going to do, I felt angry. And in the future, if you cannot follow through, I expect you to communicate that to me. So the next time a situation came up, that person was the first person to contact me to tell me that they couldn't make it or they couldn't follow through. So our relationship was preserved because of that. So I have used this, and it is very powerful. So when you start focusing on facts, expressing how you are feeling, and you set expectations for the future, people start changing their behavior and the outcome when they understand how it impacts others. I have used this method, again, like I said, many occasions, and it does save relationships. People often avoid sharing how it impacts them and what their needs are because they fear how the other person will react. A lot of people avoid having that accountability piece in there because they're worried about someone being reactive or getting upset at them. And if you don't express yourself, you can become resentful over time and feel like you've been taken advantage of. You need to communicate what it is that you want and what it is that you need. Others respect you for setting those limitations. It provides a form of structure, and they feel like they can have permission to do the same. Decide what consequences are if someone crosses the line. If someone says that they are going to deliver on something and they don't, there needs to be a consequence. A person's actions should be stronger than their word to demonstrate how committed they are. And you know, there's people out there, they will talk and talk and talk, but there's no action that follows with it. So after a while, you don't depend on those people because you know that they're not going to follow through, and it can impact the work that you do. So a person's actions need to be stronger than their word. Consequences do not all have to be negative. So often when we hear the word consequence, we think of negativity and that something bad is going to be happening. There has to be a form of punishment, but there are positive consequences. And when you hold people accountable, you can get the results that you're looking for. That accountability piece is huge when you are trying to share what your expectations are. And what it also does is it demonstrates that you believe in that individual for the capacity to change and become a stronger leader. Another positive consequence is the fact that not achieving a goal can be a positive consequence, just the thought of it, because it motivates you to put in the work required. So that's a positive consequence in the sense that if you're not doing the work, suddenly you're going to be pushed to do so because you want to achieve that success. So Brene Brown has an awesome book called The Gifts of Imperfection. Let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. And her quote in this book is, when we fail to set boundaries and hold people accountable, we feel used and mistreated. This is why we sometimes attack who they are, which is far more hurtful than addressing the behavior of choice. Because really, you're upset with the behavior of the person and not the person. So what it comes down to is you want to be hard on the behavior, but soft on the person is what it comes down to. So really thinking about, when you're thinking about those consequences, and you're paying attention to the tone in your delivery, is what you want to pay attention to is the behavior that you want to see changed. Setting boundaries takes courage and practice. And it gets easier over time, especially if you're uncomfortable approaching someone and, explaining what boundaries you have. And when people set boundaries, what it does is it creates a safe environment in which people feel comfortable to share and express themselves. By clearly communicating and setting boundaries, you will be able to be present and calm here in the moment, because you won't be frustrated and resentful and have your emotions taking you on a joyride somewhere else. Your quality of life also improves. You sleep better, you face fewer distractions, and that way you can separate events or circumstances from overflowing into what you are doing. It is not if someone will cross your boundaries, it will be when. And I leave you this question: how will you decide to handle it? Thank you for joining us on the Millionaire Woman Show. We would love for you to subscribe to the Success Secrets newsletter on my website at www.deborahkozowski.com. And you will get your free MP3 download. It's my gift to you. 10 surefire strategies to power up your productivity and performance. And I would love to hear how this podcast has influenced you, helped you become a better leader, a better business leader. And you can do that by going to deborah@deborahkozowski.com. I read every single one of them personally, and I'm grateful for your response. And I would love for you to share this podcast with other people. And give us a 5-star high five and write us a review there on iTunes and watch us on YouTube and give us a thumbs up. And I look forward to sharing this with you. But setting boundaries is such a crucial area for leaders. And when you do so, you set the tone of your leadership, you create positive cultures, because people need accountability, even though sometimes they don't believe that they do. But they like to have that structure, have someone to check in on them. And what it does is it sees that they're valued. They're just not another number in an organization. The other thing I want to share with you, again, my book is coming out September 2017. Until September 1st, it will be $15. So you're going to want to grab your copy. It's already in the editors. We're in the last round of edits. I'm super, super excited. This launch is going to be amazing. So please go over to www.letsbecurious.ca and grab your copy today. As Muhammad Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world. And my wish for you is go out and make today great. Take care, everyone.